Peace and shalom, Israel. Before we start the lesson, hit the notification button because we upload lessons every week and I don't want you to miss a single one of them. Like, comment, subscribe, and if there's a topic you would like for us to cover, we'll see what we can do. So until next time, cue the music. All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And peace to everyone joining us on this program. This is the Fountain of Israel Bible Studies program. And as always, it's an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's holy Sabbath day. Now this week we will be tackling the subject entitled, Prepare Now, but Store Your Treasures in Heaven. Prepare now, but store your treasures in heaven. So, we do have quite a bit of ground to cover, so we're going to jump right in. And if you would join me, I would like to go on over to Matthew chapter 6 in the text. Matthew chapter 6. And I will begin at verse 19. Matthew 6 and 19. Let the Bible speak.
Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. Okay, so this is really what the lesson is all about. Okay, the lesson is all about that. In verse 19, lay not for yourselves treasures upon the earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. Continue. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal.
Go ahead.
For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Okay,
for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Because we know we're living in a day and age where it's becoming apparent that it's about our material possessions. Okay, this lesson isn't really about, oh, for the love of money is the root of all evil or anything like that. But it's about where we put our heart, where we put our focus. Okay, so is our focus really about preparing for the kingdom? Is our focus about preparing ourselves now for what is to come later? Or is it about heaping up for ourselves treasures upon the earth? Heaping up for ourselves the latest fashion, the biggest home, the best car, all the little trinkets, all the little accoutrements of success. Is it really about those type of things? Are we being distracted by the things that the world has to offer us? And that's really what it's about. Now, I'm not here to say, you know, money is evil and it's not necessary. Obviously, it's necessary because it's really hard, I should say, to get along in the world without some level of money. It's very, very difficult. You have to eat, you have to clothe yourself, you have to shelter yourself, and it takes money. Okay? So I'm not here to bash money. I'm here to ask, where is your heart? Where is your focus? That's what I'm here to ask. Drop down to verse 24, brother.
No man can serve two masters.
Yes.
For either he will hate the one and love the other.
Read on.
Or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. Okay, so you cannot serve God and mammon. And let's look at that. It's mammonos. Okay. It's Greek. And it says mammon, treasure, riches. Okay. That's what mammon is. Okay. Go ahead. 25. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body. Come on. What ye shall put on, is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment. Come on. Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns. Yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? Okay, say real plain and simple. Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? Okay, so he just asked a question. Aren't you better than that? Go ahead, 27. Which of you by taking thought can add one cubit unto this stature? Okay, so he said, which of you worrying yourself to death, okay, can add one cubit unto your stature? Go ahead. And why take And why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow, they toil not, nor do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these.
Go ahead.
Wherefore if God so clothe the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow it is cast into shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith?
So he asks a real simple question again in verse 30. Wherefore if God so clothe the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Okay, because a lot of times we find ourselves worrying about, you know, oh, what are we gonna eat? What are we gonna where we're gonna live? You know, how I'm gonna stay warm and stuff like that. You know, from day to day. Of course, there are some obvious day-to-day worries. They're out there, but overall, where is your faith? Where is your heart? Where is your trust? Your treasure should indeed be stored up in heaven. That's where your mind should be stayed on things above. Okay, verse 32.
For after all these things do the Gentiles seek, for your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
That is the $1 million statement right there. That's the $1 million statement right there. If I drop back to 31, it says, therefore, take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or wherewithal shall we be clothed? Okay, these bare necessities right there. Don't worry about it so much. Don't worry about it too much, because he will provide for you. There's bigger things that we need to be worried about. 32, for after all these things do the Gentiles seek. That's what the Gentiles want. So guess who he was talking to? Israel. Okay. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. So he already knows. You can't add 1 cubit to your stature worried about these things incessantly, constantly. You keep your eyes on things above. We're going to continue on. Let's go to 1 Kings. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 3. And we'll pick it up at verse 5. And when you get there, let the Bible speak. 1 Kings 3, verse 5. Chapter 3, verse 5.
And Gibeon the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night. And God said, ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said, thou hast showed unto thy servant David my father great mercy, according as he walked before thee in truth and in righteousness and in uprightness of heart with thee. And thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, and it is this day. And now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father. And I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people which thou hast chosen. A great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people? Okay, so look at what he asked for. Now we know Solomon is known for 2 things: his wisdom and his wealth, right? So we know he's pretty much known for that. But look here what he asked for. God say, what do you want me to give you? What do you need from me? And how does he answer? Okay, he said, give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people? Is a lot. Israel was pretty big. Okay, so he's asking for wisdom. Give me discernment. Give me judgment, so that I can lead these people properly. That's what he's focused on. And then the Lord gives him an answer. Go ahead in verse 10. And the speech pleased the Lord, and Solomon had asked this thing.
Go ahead.
And God said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast asked riches for thyself, nor hast asked the life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern.
What is he going to do?
Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart, so that there was none like before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee.
Go ahead.
And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all the thy days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days.
So he's going to give him all that. What else?
And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up burnt offerings and offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. Okay, that's all we need. That's all we need, because we understand what happened. He asked for the right thing. He said, just give me some wisdom. Just give me an understanding heart, a kind and understanding heart. And because he didn't ask for the riches and the lives of his enemies and the length of days, you know, I want to live to be 200 years old. He didn't ask for any of that, but he went ahead and gave him all that anyway. Because, you know, because in James it says, you know, you have not because you ask not, because you ask amiss so that you might heap it upon your lust or whatever. Sometimes we ask for things and we ask amiss. Sometimes the answer is no because of our intentions, what we're going to do with it. Because sometimes it's where our heart is. We ask for things because of where our heart is. Ultimately, everything you want should be stored up in heaven. That's where you should place it. That's where you should make your biggest investment, because the payoff is huge. We're still in 1 Kings. Go to chapter 10. 1 Kings chapter 10. We'll pick it up at verse 1. And when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to prove him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with a great train, with camels that bear spices, and very much gold. And very much gold. Go ahead. And precious stones. Precious stones with sapphires, emeralds, rubies, diamonds. We know what those are, correct? Go ahead. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him all that was in her heart. Go ahead. And Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king, which he told her not. And when the queen of Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom, and the house that he had built, and the meat of his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel. So they obviously look pretty good too. Go ahead. And his cupbearers, and his ascent by which he went up unto the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her. And she said to the king, it was a true report that I heard in mine own land of thy acts and of thy wisdom. Howbeit I believed not the words until I came, and my eyes had seen it, and behold, the half was not told me. Thy wisdom and prosperity exceedeth the fame which I heard. Thy wisdom and prosperity exceeded the fame which I heard. Go ahead. Happy are thy men, happy are these thy servants, which stand continually before thee, and that hear thy wisdom. Blessed be the Lord thy God, which delighteth in thee, to set thee on the throne of Israel, because the Lord loved Israel forever. Therefore made he the king to do judgment and justice. Yes. And she gave the king 120 talents of gold. Okay, 120 talents of gold. Go ahead. And of spices, very great store, and precious stones. There came no more such abundance of spices as these, which the queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. Okay, so let me take a look at this. Okay, so gold or talents. Okay, is kikar, round district, and okay, round loaf, round weight, talent, gold, silver, bronze, iron, stuff like that. Right. So we have that. So just in that, she gave her 100 talents of gold. Now, if you can imagine an ounce, okay, this is a lot bigger than an ounce. Imagine some of those bricks. Imagine those gold bars, okay? So, just an ounce of gold today, I'd taken the liberty of looking up, you know, gold by the ounce today, and at the time of this recording, gold is $1,295 an ounce, okay? That's a coin, people, a coin, 1 ounce coin. Okay, it's like a silver dollar, or the half dollar, the Liberty 1 ounce. All right, $1,295 per ounce, and he had bricks.
Now, many experts, they look back and they say, you know what? He had enough gold that's worth over $100 billion just in gold. And he had spices, and yes, people back then, spices had value as well. Then he had precious stones, rubies, diamonds, emeralds. And if we look there, and she gave the king 120 talents of gold. I'm not talking about ounces, okay? I'm talking about it weighs pounds, okay? Of gold and of spices, very great store. Gave him a very great store of spices and precious stones. There came no more such abundance of spices as which the queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. Now look at verse 11. What does that say?
And the navy also of
Hiram
that brought gold from Ophir.
They brought more gold from Ophir.
Brought in from Ophir great plenty of almug trees and precious stones.
And more precious stones. More stuff was brought to him, okay? More stuff was brought to him. Drop down to verse 14.
Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 636 talents of gold.
Wow. 636 talents of gold that came to him in 1 year. 1 year. Couldn't continue. Go ahead.
Beside that, he had of the merchant men and of the traffic of the spice merchants.
Okay, so he had that too. Go ahead.
And of all the kings of
Arabia.
And of the governors of the country. And King Solomon made 200 targets of beaten gold. 600 shekels of gold went to one target. And he made 300 shields of beaten gold. 3 pounds of gold went to one shield. And the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. Okay, so I'm looking at targets there, okay, and it's Sisna, okay, or Tisna, okay, and the target looks to be something piercing or hook or barb, okay. However, the other definition is shield, large shield, buckler, or shield, okay. Coolness, we know it's not snow, so it's a shield, large buckler, or shield. So it says, and King Solomon made 200 targets of beaten gold. So it sounds like he's making shields there. 600 shekels of gold went to one target. 17. And he made 300 shields of beaten gold. 3 pound of gold went to one shield, and the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. Verse 18. Moreover, the king made a great throne of ivory and overlaid it with the best gold. Go ahead. The throne had 6 steps, and the top of the throne was round behind, and there were stays on either side on the place of the seat. And 2 lions stood beside the stays, and 12 lions stood there on this one side, and on the other upon the 6 steps. There was not the like made in any kingdom.
What else?
And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold.
Gold, drink all his cups. Gold. Go ahead.
And all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. And none were silver. It was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. Everything.
This is how much gold. I'm just trying to give you an idea of this wealth. Everything, wealth. You hear billionaires having gold toilets and stuff like that. Well, Solomon had that first. He did that first. Billionaire. Okay. Dubai will be nothing for Solomon. He had everything. Like I said, just in gold, over 100 billion calculated today. At least by a lot of experts. Over 100 billion with a B. Okay. Not to mention his other precious, not to mention the real estate. And as you can see, he had all these, he had merchant marketplace. He had all this. And when people came to see him, they bestowed upon him more gold and spices and precious stones. Continue, verse 22. No, what he said actually in 21, he said, and all kings' drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. It was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. Verse 22.
For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish,
bringing what?
Bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks.
Wow, go ahead.
So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom.
Okay, so the Bible said that. I don't have to say that. I don't have to pump that up. That's what the Bible said. He exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and of gold. And what else in 24?
And all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. And they brought every man his present, vessels of silver and vessels of gold, and garments and armor and spices, horses and mules, a rate year by year. Okay,
they just kept coming. This guy was your motivational speaker. He was your counselor. He was your consultant. Okay, he was the guy you went to for answers and for wisdom. Okay, he was the one. And when you came, you didn't come empty-handed. What verse you left on? 26. Go ahead.
And Solomon gathered together chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, whom he bestowed in the cities of chariots, and with the king at Jerusalem. And the king made silver to be in Jerusalem as stones and cedars.
Cedars made
he to be as the
sycamore trees
that are in the vale for abundance.
Yes.
And Solomon had horses brought out of Egypt, and linen yarn, and king's merchants received the linen yarn at a price. And the chariot came up and went out of Egypt for 600 shekels of silver, and a horse for 150. And so for all the kings of the Hittites and for the kings of Syria did they bring them out by their names.
By means. They brought him a lot. Now let's see what he thought about it. Go to Ecclesiastes for me, please. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Let's see what he thought about it. Okay, and Ecclesiastes, it will be chapter 2, and we'll pick it up at verse 4. Let's look at some of the things he did with it. I mean, we see some of the things he received. He did a few things, and then we'll see, how he felt about it. Let's look at a couple of things. Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Let's pick it up at verse 4. And when you get there, let the Bible speak.
I made me great works. I built me houses. I planted me vineyards. I made me gardens and orchards. And I planted trees in them of all kind of fruits.
Come on.
I made me pools of water to water therewith the wood that bringeth forth trees. I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. Also I had great possessions of great and small cattle of all that were in Jerusalem before me.
What else?
I gathered me also silver and gold, and the peculiar treasure of kings and of the provinces. I got me men singers and women singers, and the delights of the sons of men as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So I was great and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me.
Yes.
And whatsoever mine eyes desired, I kept not from them.
What else?
I withheld not my heart from any joy, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my portion of all my labor. And then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do. And behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit. There was no profit under the sun.
Go ahead.
And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. For what can the man do that cometh after the king? Even that which hath been already done.
Go ahead.
Then I saw that wisdom excelleth folly, for as far as light excelleth the darkness.
Go ahead.
The wise man's eyes are in his hand, but the fool walketh in darkness. And I myself perceived also that one event happeneth till.
Okay, that's all we need. Okay, that's all they need. He was looking at all these things I have done. He said, look at all the things I have done. I have not withheld any type of pleasure from myself. I built houses, I built gardens, I had men servants, I had maidens. I've done it all. I've done it all. I sat before other kings. They came to me. Everything. All the wisdom. So from the wisest person in the world, and most people think, you know, money is really all of that, the end all be all. Take it for someone who had more than everybody else and also had at least a measure of wisdom. Okay? And he says, vexation and folly. It's not everything. And eventually we all die anyway. Can't take it with you, and we'll read that too. So I warn all of us, I warn you, brothers and sisters, that if you are really focused on amassing wealth, and that is the end all be all for you, it may be all for naught. Realize what you are doing it for. How many times do we have to see a celebrity who we imagine, we think they have it all? They have the fame, they have the money, they can travel the world, they can go anywhere, see something, buy it because they have millions in the bank or whatever, but yet they turn to drugs, burn out, sometimes become recluse, have nervous breakdowns, run off to Africa, run somewhere where they can, you know, have a little bit of peace. Because once you're famous, you can't get unfamous. All you can do is be infamous. How many times we see that? We see the celebrity, we think they got it all together. It's like, man, you know, if it were me, or, you know, if I was worth $86 million, I mean, we have to consider where their treasures are stored. What are they focused on? Why, once they have, quote unquote, made it, they're not happy? Because their focus is totally somewhere else, because they lost purpose. And that's it. When we get aimless, when we get to a certain place, we don't even know why we're there. Now we're aimless. There's no purpose. There's why am I here? Is this it? Is that all there is? Because that's what happens. Oh, one day I want to make it. Okay, then what? What does that mean? Plenty of them, quote unquote, make it, and then they fall apart. You read the stories yourself. Let's move on. Go to Hosea 4 and 7. We just want one verse over there. So go to Hosea chapter 4, verse 7. Verse 7, just that one verse.
As they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore will I change their glory into shame. Okay, so as they increase in number, increase in power, increase in wealth. As they increase, so the sin increase as well. Because now your focus is somewhere else. Your focus is somewhere else. I mean, don't fall for it just because you're at some music award or some Grammys or something like that, and they say, oh, well, I first like, you know, thank God or whatever. Come on now. Yeah, you think that's genuine every time? For a few, it may be genuine, but everyone who says that, is that genuine? Let's go on over to Proverbs 27. Proverbs 27. Read for me verse 24. For riches are not forever, and doth the crown endure to every generation.
No, it didn't last forever. For riches are not forever, and doth the crown endure for every generation. We're still in Proverbs, but go back a couple of chapters. Go to Proverbs 27. Chapter 20. I'm sorry, go to chapter 22. Chapter 22. Go to verse 1. Proverbs 22, verse 1, it says what?
A good name is rather to do chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold.
Go ahead.
The rich and poor meet together. The Lord is the maker of them all.
And we're all going to end up in the same place. That's what Solomon said. He said the same thing going to befall both of them. Okay? When it comes to death, it doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, right? Verse 4. Go to verse 4.
By humility and the fear of the Lord are riches and honor and life.
That's how you have riches, honor, and life. What else?
Thorns and snares are in the way of the froward. He that doth keep his soul shall be far from them. Okay, so drop down to verse 16. Make that 16. He that oppresseth the poor to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want. Go, keep going. Bow down thine ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply thine heart unto my knowledge. And go to verse 22. Rob not the poor, because he is poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gate. For the Lord will plead their cause, and spoil the soul of those that spoiled them. Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man that shall not go. Okay. lest thou learn his ways and get a snare to thy soul. Be not thou one of them that strike hands, or of them that are sureties for debts. If thou hast nothing to pay, why should he take away thy bet from an under?
So don't. That's when someone bet the farm. You know, they mortgage their bet their house or something like that. Okay, you know, this is just timeless wisdom that the Father is trying to share with us, only if we would take heed. Let's go on over to Psalm 73. Go back one book, Psalm chapter 73. I'm going to pick it up at verse 3, 73 and 3. Let the Bible speak.
For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no bands in their death, and their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued with like other men. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression, that speak loftily. They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. And their tongue walketh through the earth. Drop down to 11. And they say, how doth God know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, there are the ungodly. These are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. Sure they do. Verily, I have cleansed my heart in vain, and washed my hands in innocence. Innocency. For all the day long have I been plagued and chastened every morning. If I say I will speak thus, behold, I should offend against the generation of thy children. Go ahead. When I thought to know this, it was too painful for me, until I went into the sanctuary of God, and then understood and then understood I therein. I want y'all to think about that for a second, okay? He said all these things that the wicked have, they prosper, it doesn't seem like anything bothers them or whatever. And then we feel a lot of times, it's like, man, they seem like everybody else is making it. Here I am, I'm trying to live as righteous and as holy as I possibly can, and I'm not getting anywhere. Because sometimes that's what happens. And the enemy will do that when we have a jealous eye, when we're envious, when we worry about or focus on what someone else has. When we think about that. And then we're like, man, you know, so why am I doing all this? See, you allow that to creep in, and now your heart is being turned subtly. Now your heart is being turned. Now you're worrying about what someone else is doing. You know the old phrase, keeping up with the Jones. You worrying about that. You worrying about the wrong thing. Seek first the kingdom of heaven, which we'll get to. And then all these things will be added unto you. Whether it be this life or the next, but it'll be added unto you. Where you want it is the next life. So thieves can't take it. So moths and rust, and nothing can happen to it. Once you got it, you got it. Here, no matter if you do get it here, it is temporary. It doesn't matter. It is definitely temporary. So if I look over here, at 16 he said, and when I thought to know this, it was too painful for me. Until I went into the sanctuary of God, then understood I therein. So you got a little bit of understanding. Now go on over to verse 18. Go ahead. Surely thou didst set them in slippery places. Thou castest them down into destruction. Yeah, go ahead. How are they brought into desolation? As in a moment, they are utterly consumed with terrors. Go ahead. As a dream when one awaketh, so, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. Go ahead. Thus my heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. Yes. So foolish was I and ignorant. I was as a beast before thee. Okay, so look, so foolish was I was ignorant. You know, Lord, now that I think about it, yeah, okay. Because if you think about it, if the Lord's dealing with you and trying to bless you and trying to give you, you know, what you need, that doesn't mean you can't strive and, you know, try to do a little bit better. That's okay. That's okay. But as long as He's providing for you and, you know, helping you take care of your family, you got to be content with that. There would be content. Food, raiment, you got your, you know, you have your faculties about you. Well, some of us. So you have to be content. You got to learn to be grateful for some of these type of things. Because the end thereof for the wicked, if they got it by ill-gotten gains, if they're completely ignoring the Lord, oh, He is stripping all that away for the wicked, from the wicked,
is going to give it to the righteous. Do we not have scriptures that say that? The wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous, right?
Yep.
So you don't have to worry about it. You can look at the wicked and see how prosperous they're being, and you can say, okay, not for long. If they keep going the way they're going, not for long. When they get to party like there's not a care in the world, like in the days of Noah, not for long. And the flood come to overtake them, not for long. Won't be prepared, won't know what's going on, won't know what hit them. But you know the God you serve. We're going to continue here. He said, and as a dream, when one walketh so, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. In 21, thus my heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. In 22, he said, so foolish was I, and ignorant, I was as a beast before thee. Let's drop down to 25. Go ahead.
Whom have I in heaven but thee? And there is none upon earth that I desire beside thee.
That's your attitude. Go ahead.
My flesh and my heart faileth, but God is the strength of my heart, and my portion forever.
This is the attitude we all should have. Go ahead.
For lo, they that are far from thee shall perish.
What did I say? Go ahead.
Thou hast destroyed all them that go a whoring from thee.
Serving other gods, doing your own thing. 28.
But it is good for me to draw near to God. I have put my trust in the Lord God, that I may declare all thy works.
That I may declare all thy works. We're still in Psalms. Go to 37, chapter 37, same book, chapter 37. If you want to deal with it, let's deal with it. You want to know what we should focus on, then let's deal with it right now. This is what we should be focusing on. Psalm 37, chapter 14, and when you get there, let the Bible speak.
The wicked have drawn out the sword, and bent their bow, to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bow shall be broken. A little that a righteous man hath is better than the riches of any wicked. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time. And in the days of famine they shall be satisfied.
So when the days come, when that rough day comes, because right now it looks okay for most of us. It looks okay. When that rough day comes, okay, the precursor to the return of the king, when that comes, okay, they shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied, because he's going to make a way for those that are his. Okay, so let's go to verse 23. Go to verse 23.
The steps of the good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way.
As a matter of fact, go back to 22. Start at 22. Let's do that one. 22 first.
For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth.
They're going to inherit what?
The earth.
Okay, go ahead.
And they that be cursed of him shall be cut off.
Go ahead.
The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down. For the Lord upholdeth him with his hand.
Yes, he does.
I have been young, and now am old. Yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Because
we know at the end the Lord takes care of his own. We know that at the end. We know in the end it's going to be okay. Ultimately, the one, that has the key of life. Your Savior, your Messiah. So we know ultimately it's going to be okay. Let us continue, because we have so much ground to cover. Let's continue. Let's go over to Proverbs 16. Proverbs 16. Proverbs 16, and when you get there, let's pick it up at verse 1. Proverbs 16.
The preparations of the heart in man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes. Unto the Lord waiteth of spirits. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. The Lord hath made all things for himself.
Come on.
Yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord.
Everyone who's proud in heart, too proud, is an abomination to the Lord. Go ahead.
Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished.
So you can pray all you want, but you will be punished if you're proud at heart. Go ahead.
By mercy, the truth and iniquity is purged, and by the fear of the Lord, men depart from evil.
Yes, by mercy and truth, iniquity is purged, and by the fear of the Lord, men depart from evil. Continue.
When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Better is a little with righteousness, and great revenues without right.
Okay.
A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps.
Yes.
A divine sentence is in the lips of the king. This his mouth transgresseth not in judgment. A just weight and balance are the Lord's. All the weights of the bag are his work. It is an abomination to kings to commit wickedness.
Go ahead.
For the throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of kings, and they love him that speaketh right.
Come on.
The wrath of a king is as messengers of death, but a wise man will pacify. Yeah,
he would calm down a king when a king is really, really upset. When someone has power and authority over you, you do not want to be in the path or in the way of their wrath. So a wise man will pacify that, calm them down. Go ahead.
And the light of the king's countenance is life, and his favor is as a cloud of the latter rain.
Go ahead.
How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather to be chosen than silver? And the highway of the upright is to depart from evil.
Yes.
He that keepeth his way preserveth his soul. Pride goeth before destruction, and haughty spirit
before a fall.
Better it is to be of an humble spirit than
with the lowly,
than to divide the spoil with the proud. He that handleth a matter wisely shall find good. And whoso trusteth in the Lord, happy is he. The wise in the heart shall be prudent, and the sweetness of the lips increaseth learning.
Yes.
Understanding is a wellspring of life unto him that hath it, but the instruction of fools is folly.
Yes.
The heart of the wise teacheth his mouth, and addeth learning to his lips. Pleasant words are as an honeycomb, sweet to the soul, and health to the bones.
Because a lot of people, a lot of us who maybe like a little older, a little bit older, adults. How many times if you ever just sat down with someone older than you, okay, an adult, how much wisdom they can bestow upon you. Now, there is a such thing as old fools, of course. Young fools, old fools. But there's some people out there who has a lot of wisdom. And what is the all too familiar refrain? They say, you know what? If I knew then what I know now. Because there's a lot of wisdom, because it's health to their soul. It's sweetness of the lips, increase the learning. Okay, they're prudent. They understand. It's like, man, if I knew then what I know now, I can make a big difference in my life. But no one wants to listen to the wisdom of someone who has gone before them. Nobody wants to listen to the wisdom. No, they want to make their own mistakes. Nobody wants to listen. Look at the things that the Lord wants us to value. Wisdom and understanding and being prudent. Walking upright. The things that he treasures. A character. A humble spirit. Contrite heart. Look at the things that he treasures. Look at the things that we should be focused on. Look at the things that we should be storing up in heaven. Look at these things. We're reading this all over the place. We think we're going to impress the Most High with a suit. We think, the Most High is impressed by, Armani. He's impressed because of what, a Rolex? We need to get a little bit of understanding here that we can't impress our way into the kingdom. But we can prepare our minds. We can prepare our hearts. We can prepare ourselves physically, get in line, correct our behavior, get into grace, get into covenant with your maker, watching our conversation of life or manner of life. Those are the things that he's looking at. You don't get to the kingdom when he shows up, he's going to say, well, let me see your bank account. Let me see your tax return. No, those are not the things that are going to impress him. In 22, he said, understanding is a wellspring of life unto him that has it, but the instruction of fools is folly. The heart of the wise teaches his mouth, and added learning to his lips. Pleasant words are as a honeycomb, sweet to the soul, and health to the bones. 25.
And there is a way that seemeth right unto a man,
Mm-hmm.
but the end thereof are the ways of death.
Yeah, if it seems right, it seems right. It seems okay, but the way thereof is death. Go ahead.
He that laboreth for himself,
Mm-hmm.
for his mouth craveth it of him.
Okay, you want to do all this for yourself? You know, I want to build a community for my people. It's not for me. It's not for. I don't need multiple dwelling places for myself. But when you labor for yourself. For his mouth craveth for himself. But 27.
An ungodly man diggeth up evil,
Mm-hmm.
and in his lips there is a burning fire.
Go ahead.
A froward man soweth strife,
Mm-hmm.
and a whisperer separateth him chief friends.
Mm-hmm.
A valiant man entice.
Okay, he said, a froward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separated chief friends. A violent man enticeth his neighbor,
and leadeth him into the way that is not good.
Go ahead.
He shutteth his eyes to devise forward things,
Mm-hmm.
moving his lips that he bringeth evil to pass.
Okay, so just moving his lips to bring evil to pass. Okay, froward is perverse. Okay, perverse man. Being froward means to be perverse. Okay, and those are the type of things he's talking about. A violent man enticeth his neighbor and leading him away that is not good. See, there's some people out there. They're not for your good, and getting you off the path, getting your mind focused on something that it ought not. The influence of the world, getting your mind off what you ought to stay focused on. Could be friends, could be family, could be anybody, but that is their job, to distract you from keeping your mind on heavenly things, to distract you. That's what they want to do, to distract you. That's their job, to knock you off the path. That is their job. That's what they want to do. So we're in Proverbs 16, and now we're going to go over to Micah chapter 2. Micah chapter 2, and we'll pick it up at verse 1. Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Let the Bible speak.
Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their bed.
Mm-hmm.
When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand.
Yes.
And they covet fields and take them by violence,
Mm-hmm.
houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house,
Mm-hmm.
even a man that and his heritage.
Okay, because people take whatever they want one way or the other. That's what they'll do. That's what we're talking about right here. We're focusing on coveting the wrong thing. Some people covet after, being rich, covet after being powerful, covet after being influential, and they do it almost by any means necessary for some people. You have a whole underworld built around people who want to crave power and money by any means necessary. You have people in front of us in the world of politics or whatever, and it's not always just money, but it's power and influence. But look at what drives them. Look at what their motivation is. By the stroke of a pen, you can have lobbyists and stuff, and you can make certain laws to your advantage, to their own advantage, and the people in their little inner circle. Look at what look at what they are focused on. The power and the influence and the contacts and the connections and the contracts. That's what they're focused on. Coveting. Woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it. They're up early in the morning devising their plans. Okay? Because it is in their power of their hand. And they covet fields, and they take them by violence, and houses, and they take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Verse 3.
Therefore thus saith the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove their net, neither shall ye go heartily, for this time is evil. In that day shall one take up a parable against you, and lament with a doleful lamentation, and say, We be utterly spoiled. He hath changed the portion of my people. How hath he removed it from me? Turning away, he had divided our field. Therefore thou shalt have none that shall cast a cord by
lot in the generation, in the congregation
of the Lord. Prophesy ye not, say they to them that prophesy. They shall not prophesy to them, that they shall not take a shame. O thou that art named the horse of Jacob, the house of Jacob, is the spirit of the Lord straightened? Are these his doings? Do not my words do good to him that walketh uprightly? Even of late my people is risen up as an enemy. Ye pull off the robe with the garment from them that pass by securely, as men averse from war.
Yes.
The women of my people have ye cast out from their pleasant houses. From their children have ye taken away my glory forever. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. If a man walking in the spirit and falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto you thee of wine and of strong drink, he shall even be the prophet of his people.
What else?
I will surely assemble, O Jacob, all of thee. I will surely gather the remnant of Israel. I will put them together as the sheep of Bozrah, as the flock in the midst of their fold. They shall make great noise by reason of the multitude of men.
Go ahead.
The breaker is come before them. They have broken up and have passed through the gate and are gone out by it. And their king shall pass before them, and the Lord of the head of them. Okay, so we're taking a look at that. We're just looking at how people will covet something, seize power. The Lord is going to go ahead and bring their plans to naught. It seems like they're getting away, but they're not. And I, for one, brothers and sisters, don't want you to fall in that trap. Stay the course. Focus on what is above. Understand and know exactly why you are doing what you're doing. If you don't have a plan, develop a plan. Okay? Just do that. If you don't have a plan, develop a plan. If you're not preparing for his arrival, then do that and stay the course. Understand why you are doing what you're doing and stay the course, because there's going to be a rough time coming, a time where you won't be able to sit back and listen to lessons and try to learn and study the word and stuff like that. It won't be any time for that. So the time to prepare is now, because you don't know how much time you have. This is the time to store up the treasures in heaven. Store up your treasures in heaven, and that is preparing yourself inwardly, mentally, and prepare yourself for that day when it comes, when it's a little rough, when your neighbors quickly turn into enemies. You need to have a plan for that too. You need to look at those type of things. Consider those type of things. At least you consider, because your neighbors are not considering until something happens. And then all of a sudden, everything you have look very, very enticing. And what's within you gets tested. And much like an orange, what is on the inside, when pressure is applied, what comes out? The juice. So what's in you will come out when the pressure is on. Figure it out. Start putting certain things inside you. Make it ingrained in you, embedded in you. Download it to your internal hard drive. It has to be there for when these things come to pass. You're prepared. This is just part one of Prepare Now, but Store Your Treasures in Heaven. Join me for the second part of Prepare Now, but Store Your Treasures in Heaven. I hope someone out there has been edified by this lesson. So until next time, search the scriptures and prove all things. Shalom, Israel, and peace.